Charlotte. This is Flashpoint, where power and politics collide and the tough questions get asked and answered.
Good Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us here on Flashpoint. I'm Ben Thompson. Joining me today, County Commissioner Pat Cotham, former state representative Charles Jeter, and community activist Colette Forrest. Thank you all for coming on. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Invitation.
First up, homeowners suffering a little sticker shock this week. This after they got their revaluation letters in the mail. If you own property in Mecklenburg County, chances are its official value went up. The county tax assessor says several factors go into deciding the worth of a property, including location, square footage, comps, that sort of thing. However, you have to wait to find out exactly how much your taxes are going to change. The tax rate, by the way, is currently 0.8%. That means if your home is valued at $200,000, you pay about $1,600 in property taxes. However, a lot of folks worry that they are going to be taxed out of their homes. We've seen some values go up 300% in some cases. County leaders won't meet until later in the year to take a look at the tax rate, which will determine how much more you actually have to pay. For that reason, the county manager says there's no need to worry, at least not yet.
Is that an increase in my property values automatically means an increase in my property taxes, and that is definitely not the case. As we work through the budget and we reset the tax rate, it is not true that people's taxes go up just because their value goes up.
All right, we'll begin with the county commissioner here at the table. Colette, I know you feel strongly about this. We're going to get to you in just a second. All right, Dina Diorio, though, making the point there that just because your property value goes up does not necessarily mean your tax goes up. But be honest.
But with a capital B, probably. Yeah. But it certainly is possible that it will. We have to set our tax rate. And I'm not really sure how my colleagues are going to look at that. I am not interested in having people lose their homes or have a heavy burden with heavy taxes. And I think, and I had been through the reval of 2011, the back end of it when we had to clean up all the problems. And I certainly remember all the people I talked with and met with that were struggling, and we overcharged them, and we had to fix that, and we did, and we have since done a great job to be much better prepared.
Do you feel like this time around it's better?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely better. We have spent 8 years getting ready for it, so we're in much better shape now than we were then. But you know, it's likely there's going to be, even if we do revenue neutral, there'll still be a lot of people that their taxes will go up.
Even if it's revenue neutral.
Right.
Colette, all right, your time to chime in. I know for you, I mean, yours has gone up about 300%, I believe, is what I read.
So first off, kudos to Ken Joyner. He has been doing a phenomenal job with accessibility, getting out to people. Mark Jarrell, he was one of the first county commissioners to respond to my thread. I don't know what's going on with Chair Dunlap. Haven't heard from him at all. Vice Chair Powell as well. People need to know what is going on from the county commissioners. Yesterday, I think Dunlap incorrectly tweeted that for gentrified neighborhoods, they can freeze it. That is not correct. He had to retract that tweet because legally, by state statute, you cannot do that in North Carolina. So I hope he gets his facts straight going forward because we need accuracy. I am worried about elderly, low income, persons that have had homes left to them that might have limited income in gentrified areas. We're talking Smallwood, Bitterwood, we're talking my neighborhood, Wesley Heights, we're talking Cherry. African Americans, this is their first wealth builder, owning a home. And what is going to happen to them? I get it, just because your market value went up, your tax rate may not necessarily go up, but you're getting sticker shock and you're afraid. And then you've got those predatory developers sending people, I'll give you $200,000 sight unseen as is to buy your home. Oh, by the way, you get the market value and it's actually $300,000. So a lot is going on and people need to be assured with facts.
But you just said something that was, I think, incredibly salient, which is this is their first wealth builder. Wealth builder, by definition, theoretically means your wealth increases. And I think we do have to give the county commission a little credit here. They're not the ones who say we have to do a revaluation. This is mandated under state law to do it once every 8 years. The previous county commission, I ran the legislation in the House to redo some of that work. they've done an excellent job. And I do think that if you look at it, let's say the average increase is 47%, then revenue neutral theoretically is a 47% a tax increase. So if you're below that 47% threshold, or whatever that number ends up being, you may get a tax cut. But at some point you would hope wealth is good. The dilemma, I don't think, is necessarily as much with the tax valuation. It's what the county commission does. And not only the county commission, what does the city do? What do all these 6 towns do? Because it all plays into that. And George Dunlap had a famous quote this week about, we all have wants and needs, and they're not free. And so
we can pop it up, actually. He said, funny you should say, you want greenways, you want parks, you want affordable housing, you want pre-K. All those things have a cost. If you expect that a revenue-neutral budget will deliver those things, as my mama said, you've got a wake-up call. It ain't going to happen. And
one other thing that I think we've got to think about here is, not only talking about residential, commercial valuations have gone up too. And make no mistake, every dollar a business pays more in property tax is going to make it more expensive for the consumers to go there, because they're going to pass that cost along.
Right.
So, residents are going to get hit on both sides on this. And commercial values, I think, from what I've seen, their rate has increased greater than residential.
That's definitely true. One thing I can tell you, that in the last few days, we've had more than 125,000 people look at the MEC Reval site, where they're getting great information. We've had about, I think it's like 139 phone calls to the tax assessor's office, and 67 people have walked in and gotten, and got help. So our customer service is so much more enhanced this time than it was in the past. And it's funny, I did not get one email in the last 36 hours about this. And my emails, I really haven't received that many emails, because people are going right to the MEC Reval site and getting the information they need.
There's a clearly laid out sort of procedure for people who want to appeal the process. What do you think is fair? I mean, you are fortunate enough you bought years ago in what is now a exploding neighborhood, Wesley Heights. It's an exciting place to live, I'm sure. But the downside of it is something like this. In your mind, nobody ever wants to pay more in taxes, regardless of whether it's property or otherwise. What is a fair assessment of the situation for you?
To me, I don't want myself or any of my neighbors, my elderly neighbors, my single income earner neighbors, my low income neighbors, I don't want us to be able to have to pay more than we can bear. That's it. I don't know what the numerical math looks like, but I don't want someone to have to pay more than they can bear, because that's scary.
But on the other end, you have county commission who the whole idea of doing something like this is to make sure things are fair, and understanding a growing and changing city, and certain pockets of it start doing better than others, and spreading sort of the idea of who's doing well and taxing them on the worth of their property. You mix that with what you're talking about, of people who just couldn't afford this sort of increase.
And I want them to be able to know about, once again, Ken Joyner is doing a good job. On April the 11th at my church, Reeder Memorial Baptist Church, we're going to have a learning community session of engagement where we talk about aging in place, Justin Harlow's program, where we talk about the county's, I think they have their exclusion, they call it now, it used to be exempt, but it's exclusion now, to help elderly. Just get us information. We're not trying to get a free ride, but we're not trying to be taken to the bank either. So let's get someplace in between.
I think that the people that I'm really the most concerned about are people who are renting, because they're not paying attention, and their homes, their rental homes, that landlord may look at this and say, I don't think this family can pay this, I have to pass this on, and he or she may sell that property. So I'm worried about people who rent. So that's
an important topic that a lot of people don't even think about. Because you're right, those folks are not paying attention.
They're not paying attention, and they could be affected the most.
All right, more Flashpoint after this.